This video tutorial is designed to take you through the process of how to create a new book document in InDesign, setting up the bleed and using rulers, guides and grids. To set up a new book document in InDesign is pretty straightforward. We just need to launch the program, go up to File and New Document, and then we'll be faced with this new document dialog box. Here we can specify the number of pages that we want in our book. And if we're making a book, always make sure that we've got facing pages ticked here. Next we can specify our page size. We can either use the presets that InDesign give us, or we can specify our own custom width and heights here. Next to that, we can specify the orientation of our page size. We can either have them landscape or portrait. And below that, we can specify the number of columns on our page, also the margin size. Next we need to specify the bleed. So if we click on More Options, the bleed is the area that extends beyond the page size. So bleed is effectively the amount of space that's going to be cut off when we trim the book. And the industry standard for the bleed size is normally about 3 mil. But if we're making our own books, we need to be a little bit more generous than that. So we're going to pick 5 mil. And if we make sure this little icon is ticked all round, you can see that it makes sure that it's 5mm all the way around for us. It just fills those in for us. Below that is the slug. Now the slug area is also an area that extends beyond the actual page size, and you can print on the slug area, but it's mainly used for markups, so printer markups, or it could be designer markup when you sign up a job and things like that. So it's not normally included, it's not part of your book basically, but it is a printable area. So we're going to leave that blank for now. Okay, so when we're happy with that, we're just going to click OK. And you can see here now that it's set our pages up 1 to 24, all as spreads, all as facing pages. So if just have a quick look now, this black line here, that's your actual page area. This outer red line here, that's your bleed area, and this sort of like purpley line here, that's your margin area. An image that touches the edges of the page is known as a full bleed image, and when this happens, what we need to do is extend that image beyond the edge of the trim size of the page to the bleed size. So this bleed area is basically the area that's going to be trimmed off when the page is trimmed down to its actual size, and this ensures that there are no sort of white lines or little bits of space or gaps between the image ending and the trim size of the page. Traditionally in bookmaking, canons were a set of principles used to divide a page up into ideal proportions. Here, the height and width of a page is divided, and combined with the golden ratio format, we can find the ideal text area. We can achieve a similar result just by creating a simple grid and dividing the page into ninths. Guides are really useful to help us align text and images and other graphic elements within InDesign, and they're really easy to use. So we start off just by going Command R, and that brings up the ruler. See at the top here we've got our ruler. We just click and drag and bring down our guides from there, and click and drag from the side and bring our guides across, and it's as simple as that. Another way we can add guides is if we just place our cursor on the ruler where we want our guides to appear and just double click and they'll appear there also. If we just go down to a double page spread now and I drag another guide down, you see that it only spans across one of the pages. If I want the guide to span across both of the pages, the double page spread, if I hold down the Command key and just pull another guide down, you can see that that spans across the whole of the double page spread now. Another handy thing to remember is if I go onto another spread now, and another way we can add guides, if I go up to Layout and go to Create Guides. Here we can dictate how many rows we have of guides, so I'm going to say I'm going to have 6 rows, and how many columns, I'm going to have 6 columns, and leave it a gutter of 1 pica. And I can also ask it to say I want the guides to run either from the page edges or the margins, so on this occasion I'm going to pick the margins. And when I'm happy with that, I just click OK, and hey presto, all those guides are completely in place. We can still move these if we wish, or leave them as they are if we don't. Also, once I've got these in place, say for instance I've done this now and I'm completely happy, I might want to lock my guides so I don't accidentally move them. So the best way to do that, if we go down to View, and go to Guides and Grids, and go to Lock Guides here, and then you can see if I try to move it now, that's not going to shift. So that's a really simple and very, very easy way to start working with guides. Book design is used many types of grid: geometric, column, hierarchical, modular. They can be used in any number of combinations. They're all designed to give your book structure and form. No matter what kind of grid you end up working with, most of them will consist of the same elements: margins, gutters, modules, columns, spatial zones, and flow lines.